The millionaire's joke invitation to a housekeeper turns shocking when she arrives like a goddess. Mia stared at the invitation like it was a postcard from outer space. "Housekeeper for Ethan Kane," she muttered, her voice barely more than a whisper. It had arrived in a crisp envelope, the kind that promised secrets, and inside it read like some bizarre prank. She knew people in her circle joked about her messy apartment, but this was ridiculous. A billionaire tech mogul? The man was a walking headline, usually featured in tabloids or glamorous articles detailing his parties. But curiosity gnawed at her. What if it wasn't a joke? The estate was everything she'd imagined and more. As she stepped through the gilded gates, towering hedges stood like sentries, and the scent of jasmine wrapped around her, intoxicating and foreign. She felt an electric thrill pulsing through her fingers, painting vibrant images of the unusual invitation that had brought her to this world. When she finally walked up the marble steps, Mia's heart raced. The doors swung open with a barely audible click, and there he was, Ethan Kane. Brilliant blue eyes, tousled dark hair, and a smile that could probably light up half the West Coast. It was surreal. Her breath caught in her throat, and it took everything in her not to turn around and run back to her tiny apartment, filled with splattered paint and overdue bills. "Welcome to my humble abode," he said, chuckling as if he could read her mind. She couldn't help but smile back, though her hands trembled slightly. His charm was like a spell, disarming and magnetic. But there was something in those eyes, a shadow of grief that gave her pause. Days turned into weeks as she settled into her role. Mia didn't just clean, she observed. He'd go from charming host to a lonely figure staring out the window, lost in thought. Each night she painted, her brush capturing the resplendent but lonely beauty of the estate. The contrast between their worlds kept their conversations lively, often laced with playful banter. "Where did you learn to paint?" he asked one evening, eyes gleaming with genuine interest. "Living in a cupboard," she joked, sweeping her hands to illustrate the size of her apartment. He threw back his head, laughing. "You should see my closet. Unbelievably spacious." Just as things began to shift between them, Mia stumbled upon a secret room tucked away behind a bookshelf. Papers spilled from an old leather briefcase, contracts filled with threats, accusations, and whispered betrayals. Heart racing, she couldn't shake the feeling that something much darker lurked beneath the surface of Ethan Kane's life. But before she could piece it all together, a shadowy figure appeared at the estate's gates, claiming to be Ethan's estranged heir. The air thickened with tension. Mia's heart sank. This was no longer just a quirky job, filled with colorful chaos. As the door creaked open, she was caught between her growing feelings for Ethan and the secrets threatening to unshackle them. What secret was Ethan hiding? And could she confront the mysteries that threatened to pull them apart? Hey, before we continue with this incredible story, I need to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without notice. Just take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content coming up. And since you're here, smash that like button because it really helps me with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who is part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. Mia's heart raced as the shadowy figure stepped into view at the estate gates. He was tall, with sharp features and dark hair slicked back. A chill crept down her spine. Who was this man? Was he the estranged heir? "Mia!" Ethan shouted from behind her, breaking the tension. His voice was urgent, but she didn't move. The air felt heavy, thick with unspoken words. "Ethan," the man said, his voice smooth, tinged with something dark and dangerous. "I believe we have some business to settle." Mia swallowed hard, her mind racing. She turned to Ethan, searching his face. His jaw was clenched, eyes narrowing. "Let's talk inside," he said through his teeth. But the man laughed, a low mocking sound. "Oh no, you don't get to run away from this. Not anymore. Mia's pulse quickened. What was happening? She could feel the tension like a taut string ready to snap. She took a small step back, unsure if that was the right move. As Ethan led the stranger into the grand hall, Mia followed, her instincts screaming at her. She caught snippets of their conversation. You can't just erase me, Ethan. The anger in the man's voice vibrated in her chest. You owe me. Ethan shot back, his voice low and dangerous. I owe you nothing. You lost your shot at this. Lifelong ago. Mia stood frozen, her heart racing. She felt caught in a storm, unable to find her footing. What had Ethan hidden from her? The sculpted walls around her seemed to close in, amplifying her anxiety. Before she could grasp the gravity of the situation, the man turned sharply to her, his glare piercing. You think you know him? You're just another toy in his collection. Stop it, Ethan roared. It was a sound that echoed like thunder, and it startled Mia. Leave. Smile. Lies. Deception. Blood on your hands. Mia felt her stomach drop. Blood? What did he mean? She wanted to scream, to ask what he was talking about, but the words stuck in her throat like a stone. Ethan looked at her, desperation in his eyes. Mia, it's not what he... But before he could finish, the lights flickered ominously, plunging them into darkness for a split second. The air thickened. Echoes of broken glass followed, leaving chills rippling across her skin. Then the lights returned, illuminating chaos. The stranger lunged at Ethan, grabbing him by the collar, and they tumbled to the ground in a flurry of fists and desperate fury. Mia's world spun as she looked around. The extravagant estate felt like a cage, a beautiful prison filled with secrets and danger. She needed to intervene to be anything but a bystander. But instinct held her back. What was the truth behind this fight? Just then, the stranger pulled something shiny from his pocket, and Mia's eyes widened. A knife? Mia, Ethan shouted, grappling to push the man off. Get out! Panic surged through her. Everything she thought she knew shattered like glass. With shaky hands, she grabbed the door handle. Frozen between stepping forward or fleeing. What hidden depths lay beneath Ethan's charming exterior? And what if the danger wasn't just outside, but lurking in the heart of the man she thought she was beginning to know? Run, Ethan urged, his voice strained, and with that single word, the choice was hers. But who could she truly trust in this twisted mess? Mia, Ethan shouted again, his voice raw with urgency. Get out! Panic clawed at her insides as she hesitated, heart thumping like a drum. The stranger loomed over Ethan, face twisted in a deranged mixture of anger and satisfaction. She couldn't just stand there, not now. What if that knife was meant for Ethan? Without thinking, she stepped forward. Wait, she yelled, hoping to diffuse the tension. What's going on? Who are you? Her voice wavered, fear rasping in her throat. The man looked at her, a smirk dancing on his lips. You really don't know, do you? This man hasn't just and living the high life. He's got debt, blood debt. You're just a naive little housekeeper, thinking you found your Prince Charming. Mia, don't listen to him. Ethan's eyes were wild, desperate. It's not true. Please, just... Suddenly the front door slammed shut behind her with a loud bang, echoing through the grand hall. The room felt like it was closing in. A rush of wind whipped through, the curtains fluttering like ghosts. Don't be so dramatic, Ethan. The stranger chuckled darkly. You think I came all this way for a chat? I came to collect. Collect? What did that mean? Her chest tightened. Collect what? She whispered, fighting to keep her voice steady. Before either man could respond, the lights flickered again, dimming further this time. A sense of dread wrapped around her like a cold fog. I think you should leave, the man said, taking a step closer to Mia. Or you might find yourself in the middle of something you really don't want to be part of. Stay away from her, Ethan shouted, pushing himself off the ground. His tone was deep, laced with protection. But the stranger merely laughed, a sound that sent ice through Mia's veins. And then it happened. The walls shuddered. rattling as if the house itself was alive. A sudden blast echoed through the estate, shaking the very foundations. It was like an earthquake, but worse. Chunks of marble and plaster began to crumble from the ceiling. The air thickening with debris, Mia stumbled backward, heart racing even faster as she tried to regain her balance. "What's happening?" she cried, choking on the dust swirling in the air. Ethan's frantic expression shifted to one of horror. No, not now. It felt like the ground might swallow them whole. But just as quickly, the tremors stopped. Silence enveloped them, heavy and oppressive. But it was what happened next that shattered the fragile moment. Slumped against the wall, with the dust settling around him, the stranger pulled out a small, gleaming device from his pocket. It blinked like a heartbeat in the dim light. "This is the truth, Ethan. You could have left it all behind. But now, this is your new reality," he said ominously. "What did you do?" Ethan's voice was a whisper, face paling as realization hit him. Mia's heart twisted painfully, confusion swallowing her. "What is that? What does it mean?" Before Ethan could respond, the device let out a shrill, piercing sound that echoed through the mansion. The walls vibrated, pictures crashing to the ground. Every piece of her surroundings felt threatened, like time itself was unraveling. "No, no, no." Ethan's expression twisted in fear. "Mia, you need to go, now." The stranger's smirk twisted into something darker. "Run all you want, but you can't escape the truth." In that instant, the truth began to seep through the very fabric of their world. What secrets had Ethan been hiding? Who was this man? And why did everything feel like it was spiraling out of control? Mia's breath hitched. Each second stretched painfully. She felt the weight of choices crashing down on her. The lines between love, danger, and betrayal blurred as the unknown loomed larger than ever. Which way would she turn now? Mia's mind spun as the stranger loomed closer, the device still pulsing in his hand. She could feel the air thick with danger, every heartbeat echoing in her ears. "What the hell is that?" she demanded, her voice trembling. It was impossible to stay calm. Ethan shot her a frantic glance. "Mia, get back, please!" But she couldn't move. The man's smirk deepened, eyes glinting with a wicked thrill. "This, my dear, is the evidence of Ethan's past, the baggage he's been so good at hiding." "What did you do?" Ethan hissed, dread washing over his face. Ignoring him, the stranger turned toward Mia, drawling, "Did you really think he was just a rich kid, enjoying his fancy life while people like you clean up his mess? He's been hiding a secret that's about to break him." Mia's heart raced as she fought to make sense of it all. "What do you mean?" Before he could respond, a loud crash reverberated through the hallway, sending a cascade of shattered glass falling from the ceiling. Dust swirled around her, choking the air. Panic gripped her as she looked around for an escape. Ethan lunged at the man, shouting, "What did you do?" And then chaos erupted. A sudden burst of light illuminated the room, blinding them for a split second. It felt like the world had flipped. Then it struck her. The device wasn't just some tool. It was a trigger. In an astonishing swirl, the stranger activated it. The room erupted with furious energy, blinding lights flashing, piercing sounds filling her ears. Mia stumbled back, disoriented. Was this a fight or a war zone? Through the chaos, she sneaked quick glances at Ethan. His face was a mask of fury and fear. "Mia, A deafening blast silenced him. The ground shook and a wall caved in, dust swirling like an angry storm. Mia's heart felt like it would burst from her chest. She grabbed onto a railing for support, eyes darting around for safety. Then, before she could grasp the intensity, the stranger stepped back, laughter rippling through the chaos. "Welcome to the party, Ethan. This is just the beginning of your reckoning." Just then, the front door burst open, lighting up the darkened space. Figures surged in, armed, faces hardened with purpose. Mia gasped, realizing she wasn't prepared for this. One of the intruders grabbed the stranger, yanking him backward, rage burning in his eyes. "You thought you could pull this off without us? You've brought down the roof." Ethan's entire demeanor shifted, revealing something far darker than she had ever anticipated. "Let him go," he shouted, but the anger in his voice rang hollow, as if he was holding back secrets he'd never shared. "Why would we?" the newcomer shot back, his voice dripping with contempt. "He has betrayed you, and now it's time you know who really owns you." Mia's breath caught. Own? What did they mean? She sensed the walls closing in, drowning in questions. What was Ethan hiding? Who were these people? Just as she thought she grasped the truth, it twisted away, like smoke through her fingers. "Ethan, what are they talking about?" she cried, panic rising. Would she ever understand this twisted web they were tangled in? Before he could answer, something wild and unexpected happened. A loud bang erupted, and a second flash of light broke through the darkness, strobing across the room. Ethan fell to his knees, anguish twisting his expression. No, not this, not now. Mia rushed toward him, but the intruder stepped in front, blocking her path. "Stay away. You have no idea what you're getting into." "What are you talking about?" Mia yelled, voice breaking. The tension in the room was electric, like a storm about to break. Suddenly, the lights flickered as everything came crashing down. One more revelation pounded in her chest. This was not just Ethan's fight. It was hers too, twisted into a labyrinth she hadn't even begun to unravel. Who was Ethan really? And why did everything feel like it was about to explode? As fear gripped her heart, she felt an unshakable urgency. She had to know the truth, no matter what it cost her. But as the shadows around her deepened, she couldn't help but wonder, could the man she thought she knew really be the monster everyone was shouting about? Mia's heart raced, confusion churning her stomach as the man blocked her path, the darkness closing in. "What do you want?" she shouted, frustration bubbling over. Every nerve in her body screamed for action, but her legs felt glued to the spot. "He wants to take it all away," the stranger sneered, casting a knowing glance at Ethan. "Everything he's built with lies." "Shut up," Ethan yelled, his voice strained, hands trembling. "You don't know anything." But the stranger only grinned wider, reveling in the chaos. "Do you, Mia? Do you really know who he is?" Mia glanced back at Ethan, desperation in her gaze. "What is he talking about?" Before Ethan could answer, the device in the stranger's hand made a sickening beep. The atmosphere cracked like glass. "It's time for the curtain to fall," he taunted, finger hovering over the button. Suddenly, a shrill alarm blared, filling the air with chaos as the lights flickered wildly. "Run!" Ethan shouted again, eyes wide and frantic. The urgency in his voice cut through the noise, and for a split second, Mia hesitated. But the intruder lunged at Ethan, the two men colliding, fists flying. In a brutal dance, Mia felt paralyzed, her heart thumping painfully. The whole mansion echoed their struggle, every blow shattering her hope. Then, in a shockwave that rippled through the very foundations, a deafening crash resonated. One of the walls collapsed, sending debris cascading like a waterfall. "Get down," Mia screamed, covering her head with her arms. The dust settled slowly, thick and oppressive. A shape emerged from the chaos. Another figure. This one was dressed like a ghost from some old film, draped in white, half hidden in the shadows. Panic surged within her. "Who are you?" she gasped, bewildered. But before anyone could answer, that figure stepped forward, and everything froze. The newcomer drew back her hood, revealing a familiar face, Mia's long-lost sister. "Surprise," she declared, a mix of mischief and something darker in her eyes. Mia's heart dropped. "You? What are you doing here?" "I came to settle the score," her sister snapped, voice cold as ice, "and to reclaim what's rightfully mine." Ethan's shocked expression mirrored Mia's. "You know her?" he stammered, glancing between the two women. The aggressor let out a cynically amused laugh. "Oh, it's better than that. It's all connected." You're all just pawns in a game you don't even understand. The realization hit Mia like a slap. This can't be happening. Before they could react, the device in the stranger's hand began to whirl, releasing tendrils of light that twisted and writhed. Time to reveal.
The truth, he bellowed. In that moment, everything shifted again. A blinding flash enveloped the room, swallowing them in brilliance. Mia shielded her eyes, a scream clawing at her throat. When the light faded, the grand hall had transformed. Gone were the luxury and glamour. Instead, it was a crumbling ruin, walls covered in graffiti, shattered mirrors reflecting twisted truths. Mia blinked, disbelief flooding her. This was a prison of secrets, everything she knew slipping away like sand through her fingers. "What is this?" she breathed, fear flooding her veins. "Welcome to reality," the stranger mocked. "Your brother's dark past isn't the only skeleton in this family's closet." "Brother?" Mia gasped, stomach dropping. "No, it can't be. I'm afraid it is." The newcomer smirked, stepping closer to Ethan. "You should have chosen your allies more carefully." The intensity of confusion sank in, bearing down on Mia. She could feel the world shifting under her feet, each revelation tightening the grip of doubt. "What happens now?" she whispered, lost in the chaos of betrayal, fear, and the unwinding truth. As the shadows began to swirl again, the importance of choosing sides loomed heavy in the air. With uncertainty threatening to consume them, Mia stood on the cusp of a chasm of choices. What price would they have to pay to uncover the truth? And how deep did the deception run? Mia's heart pounded like a drum as she tried to process the chaos. Swirling around her, everything shifted, dust hanging thick in the air, and her sister's shocking presence turned her world upside down. "What the hell are you doing here?" she shouted, voice raw. "This was always about family," her sister replied, lips curling into a cruel smile. "And you were too busy playing housekeeper to notice the truth." "Stop. Just stop." Ethan's voice sliced through the tension like a knife. "You don't have to do this." But before anyone could calm the storm brewing in the room, the device in the stranger's hand let out a low rumble, vibrating ominously. The walls trembled again, and panic surged through Mia's veins. "Do you want to know the real truth?" the stranger taunted, eyes glinting with a manic thrill. "You think you're in control, Ethan? This is just the beginning of your unraveling." In a breath-stealing instant, the lights flickered to darkness, completely gone. A shroud of silence enveloped them, thick enough to feel. Mia's heart raced. Was this the end? Suddenly, a blinding flash illuminated the room again, but this time it revealed something unthinkable. Where her sister stood moments ago, now stood a large mirror, reflecting a warped version of reality. Confused, Mia stepped closer, her breath hitching. Then the glass rippled like water, distorting her sister's face, and in a bone-chilling moment, the mirror shattered, sending shards flying. The air filled with suspended brilliance, glinting like stars for just a heartbeat, before the fragments began to hover, forming scenes, snippets of lives long gone and dark secrets buried deep. "Ethan, this is real," Mia screamed, her voice lost in the cacophony of memories swirling before her. Shadows of old debts, faces of betrayal, and swarm of lost souls danced across the broken glass. Her heart dropped with each glimmering image, revealing a story she never knew existed. "Stop!" Ethan shouted, trying to shield Mia as he stumbled backward. But the pieces of glass telegraphed his past faster than he could react. "You can't let her see this." But before he could reach out, one of the shards shot forward, embedding itself in the ground between them. A violent explosion echoed as the shattering glass burst. Familiar faces into existence, Mia's parents standing, hurt and haunted, eyes filled with regret. "Mia," they cried, voices in unison, reverberating like an echo of her childhood. "You were meant to find the truth." "What truth?" Mia gasped, eyes wide. The revelation felt like a dagger twisting in her gut. "Dad? Mom? What do you mean?" Her sister just stood back, arms crossed, a satisfied smirk spreading across her face, as if she'd been waiting for this moment to unfold. "See, you were never just a housekeeper.
You were always part of something bigger, something darker. Then came another twist. The device exploded in a burst of light and energy, knocking everyone back. Mia landed hard, her world spinning. But as she
Scrambled to her feet, she felt a sudden clarity.
"Ethan," she shouted above the chaos, desperation in her voice. "What have you been hiding? Why didn't you tell me about them?" He looked at her, anguish twisting his features. "I wanted to protect you, I thought." But before he could finish, the mirror surged into new madness, blinding light forming new images. A dark figure creeping into their lives. A sinister smile crept across the figure's face. It was the man from earlier, now more ominous, commanding, eyes burning with vengeance. "Do you truly think you can escape?" he hissed, sneering at Mia and Ethan alike. "The past is never buried, it only waits." Suddenly, all the lights went out. Darkness enveloped them again, leaving only their breaths echoing in the silence. The atmosphere thickened, suffocating, binding them together in this moment of looming dread. And just when Mia thought they'd escaped, a blinding flash sparked again, illuminating the room. But this time, the figure melted away, the mirror fading, and revealing something far worse. An open attic door, leading down into darkness, a whisper calling her name. "Mia, come find the truth." Her stomach dropped. Was this a trap, a promise? Without thinking, she grasped Ethan's arm, pulling him toward that threshold. "We have to go," she whispered fiercely. But even as she moved forward, doubt clawed at her. What lay beyond that door? With a split second to decide, she glanced back at the splintered world they just emerged from, uncertainty flooding her senses. What truth awaited them in the shadows? And could they survive this time? As the air grew heavier, it became clear, whatever lay ahead could change everything forever. Mia's heart raced as she gripped Ethan's arm, the dark doorway looming ahead, shadows gnawing at her sense of security. She could feel the weight of unexpected betrayals heavy in the air, each revelation twisting her stomach tighter. "We have to go," she whispered, desperately wishing she could outrun the swirling chaos behind them. Ethan nodded, a fire igniting in his blue eyes. "You're right, we can't stay here." He stepped toward the door, and her stomach knotted further. What awaited them? On the other side, anguish or freedom. But just as they took a collective breath, preparing to step into the unknown, a loud crack echoed through the estate. It sounded like a gunshot, loud enough to shatter the very fabric of their reality. Mia froze, eyes wide, scanning the debris-strewn room. Then she heard it again, a voice, echoing with a sense of dread that made her shiver. "Hey, don't even think about running." The voice was familiar, cutting through the tension like a knife. Her sister? No, it couldn't be. How could she be here now? Mia turned, eyes searching the chaos for truth wrapped in deception. Instead, she saw a silhouette advancing from the shadows, stepping into the dim light, revealing a figure she never expected to face again. "Mom?" Mia gasped, almost falling back against Ethan. This was not the comforting figure she remembered. Her mother's face was hollow, stark, filled with an unforgiving reality that screamed betrayal. "I trusted you," her mother shouted, clarity piercing through the chaos. "You've gotten too close to him, Mia." The shock of her mother's sudden presence suffocated her. "What? Why are you here? What is going on?" "Mia, listen to me." Her mother's voice rang with urgency. "You can't trust him. He's not what you think." Ethan's eyes widened, confusion painting his features. "What's happening? What does she mean?" Everything twisted and turned. The pieces of the puzzle suddenly felt like shattered glass. Cutting deeper, as more were revealed. "Don't," Mia's mother warned, voice shaking. "He'll pull you down with him." "Down where?" Ethan shot back, tension thickening the air. "What are you hiding?" But before her mother could respond, the device in the stranger's hand pulsed with a fiery light, illuminating their surroundings in harsh clarity. Time seemed to freeze, and in that instant, the darkness began pulling back, revealing echoes of the past. Images flashed across the walls, memories that weren't just her own, but collective pain. Mia stumbled back as horrifying scenes danced in front of her. Her mother, younger and smiling, standing beside Ethan, both of them laughing in a carefree moment. She felt the air leave her lungs. No, this can't be. See? You didn't know, did you? The stranger taunted, the glint in his eye betraying his pleasure. Your mother was just as much a part of his family as you are. Everything shattered. Mia gasped, her eyes darting between Ethan and her mother. It felt like the ground was pulled from beneath her. What are you saying? I'm saying you're all tied together, the stranger sneered. And now, it's time for the truth to come out. It felt like the world dropped everything at once. The room spun, her heart thundered in her chest, and every breath became a gasp. So you're saying, the pieces clicked painfully together. They were all entangled in a web spun from deception and secrets.
Is what, sister? Cousin? How deep does this go?
Ethan stepped back, eyes wide with realization. Mia, I swear to you, I didn't know. But before she could respond, the lights dimmed again. A dark figure emerged from the shadows, laughter like jagged glass cutting through the silence. Too late to find out now, isn't it? Mia's heart dropped. Who are you? She demanded, her voice trembling. The stranger grinned wider, revealing the edge of madness in his eyes. I'm the last piece of your family's puzzle, the one you never knew existed. The revelation hit like a freight train. Every familiar feeling now felt like a lie. Every emotion tainted with uncertainty. Her heart sunk. Were they truly bound together? By blood. And more importantly, what secrets had her mother buried deep within their past? Mia! Ethan shouted, voice laced with urgency. We have to go, now! But she hesitated, feeling the weight of every choice crash down. What if it's too late? What if I can't trust anyone? Panic coursed through her, drowning everything else. The darkness began to thicken again as the haunting truth loomed. What had they truly stumbled into? And who were they really fighting against? With shadows closing in, Mia took a deep breath, knowing she had to choose. But with the truth unraveling like a thread, would she like the fabric of her life once it was all laid bare? Mia's heart pounded as she gripped Ethan's arm, the dark doorway looming before them, shadows gnawing at her sense of security. The weight of secrets thickened the air, each revelation tightening her stomach. We have to go, she whispered, wishing she could outrun the chaos behind her. Ethan nodded, urgency igniting in his blue eyes. You're right, we can't stay. His hand trembled slightly against hers as he stepped toward the door, dread pooling in her gut. What awaited them on the other side? Anguish or freedom? Before they could take another breath, a loud crack echoed through the estate, sounding like a gunshot. It shattered the silence, sending a jolt of fear through Mia. What was that? She gasped, eyes darting toward the darkness. Stay. Close, Ethan urged, taking another step ahead, but the tension in the room crackled, and Mia felt the ground shift beneath her feet. Then, from the shadows, another figure emerged, startling her breath into a gasp. Mia, it's time you understood. A voice dripped with venomous familiarity. Her sister stood there, the twisted smile still plastered on her face, but this time her eyes held a spark of something deeper, something sinister. Everything has been leading to this moment. What? Mia's voice wavered between defiance and fear. You think you can frighten me? You don't know anything about what I've been through. Oh, but I do, her sister shot back, circling them like a predator. You're caught in a web you can't even begin to fathom. This isn't just about Ethan, you know. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifted again as the stranger's device pulsed violently, illuminating the room in sickly colors. It will all be revealed, he mocked, pointing the device toward them. You have no idea how deep this goes. Mia took a step back, her heart racing. What do you mean? But before she could process her sister's role, the ground shook again. Books and debris fell from the shelves, twisting reality in front of her eyes. And then it happened. The room trembled violently as an explosive force erupted from the device. Bright light washed over them, and for a moment, it felt like time had stopped.
Mia shielded her eyes, panic clawing at her. Then, as quickly as it began, silence fell. When the light faded, she blinked in shock. The mirror sparkled in the center of the room, but it wasn't reflecting the present. They were looking at a past she couldn't recognize. Faces flickered on that cracked surface, her parents caught in a moment of laughter. They looked so happy, so full of life. But then she saw it. The shadow of a man lurking behind them. "Mia, you have to understand." Her mother's distant voice echoed, floating through the memories like a whisper on a breeze. "We did it to protect you." "Protect me from what?" she shouted, desperation rising. "What did you hide?" Ethan stepped closer, his expression torn between shock and determination. "Mia, listen to your mother. There's something about our families, something we were never meant to figure out." But just then, the glass cracked and rippled, and something darker emerged from the depths. The man from earlier, now not just a stranger, but a figure wrapped in menace, stepped through the doorway beside her sister. He grinned, showing teeth that were anything but inviting. "Did you think this was over?" He laughed, an echo of madness. "I'm your true brother, Mia. The one they tried to erase from existence." Her breath caught in her throat, confusion gripping her tighter than ever. "What? No, that's not possible." "Oh, but it is. I am the legacy they hope to bury." "And now you're in my way." Mia felt ice settle in her veins. This wasn't just a fight, it was war. Everything she thought she knew shattered like glass. "Ethan, what the hell is happening?" The air thickened with potent tension as secrets clamored to be freed. "We have to go, now," Ethan shouted, pulling at her arm, "before it's too late." But Mia stood frozen, grappling with the truth. I can't go. Not if this is real. Not if everything we built together is a lie." Ethan's eyes softened, anguish flickering there as new understanding passed between them. But before they could connect, the shadows twisted, engulfing the room in darkness. "Let's play a game," the imposter sibling sneered. "And when the truth comes out, you'll wish you never learned it." With that, chaos erupted again, igniting fire and fury in their quiet world, threatening to swallow them whole. Was Mia ready to face this new reality? As the darkness encroached, it felt like everything was hanging in the balance. And who would she become when the last piece of the puzzle fell into place? As the darkness encroached, Mia felt a chill creep down her spine. The words of her sister echoed in her mind, twisting through confusion and dread. Everything has been leading to this moment. She gripped Ethan's hand tighter, wishing she could erase the fear knotting in her stomach. "Run," Ethan urged, his voice low but insistent. "We need to get out of here before it's too late." But she couldn't move. Her eyes darted between her sister's mocking grin and the shadowy figure looming behind her. Every part of her screamed for action, but her feet felt rooted to the ground. "What do you mean I don't understand?" she shouted, desperation spilling over. A cruel smile spread across her sister's face. "You were chosen, Mia. Not by chance, but by blood. Our blood. This whole thing. Ethan, this house. It all connects back to our family's legacy. And you, dear sister, are the key." Before Mia could comprehend those words, the device in the stranger's hand exploded with blinding light. The walls shook violently, sending a ripple of fear through her entire being. "Mia, get back!" Ethan pulled her close, shielding her from the chaos. The room erupted into a burst of sound, crashing debris and shards of broken glass scattered like confetti around them. Dust filled the air, thick and choking. In the turmoil, she stumbled backwards, losing her footing, and then everything went dark. When she opened her eyes again, she wasn't in the mansion anymore. The scene around her shifted, transporting her to a cold, stark room lined with steel and shadows. Her breath hitched in her throat. This place felt familiar but twisted, haunted by something she couldn't quite place. "Welcome," a voice boomed, deep and authoritative. It belonged to a man she didn't recognize, but felt an intense sense of dread at the sound. He stood at a distance, partially hidden in the shadows. You're finally here, Mia. What do you want? She stammered, voice trembling. You need to understand the legacy you carry, he replied, stepping closer. The Kane family has secrets, secrets that could destroy everything. Ethan was by her side, breathing hard. What's going on? His eyes darted between the newcomer and Mia, confusion morphing into alarm. Before the man could answer, a shocking revelation ripped through the air like thunder. Mia, he said, you are not just a Kane by blood. Her heart dropped. What did he just say? Not a Kane. What are you talking about? The man took a step forward, and the light caught his face. It was a face she recognized, so familiar yet distorted by her memory. Her father. I have been waiting for you. You're my daughter. The truth hit Mia like a bullet. Everything she thought she knew, gone in an instant. Her body went numb. No, that can't be true. Dad, you. But he continued, his voice steady. You need to understand the weight of this lineage, this power. The fight for it goes beyond our family. Ethan's arm slipped around her waist, grounding her. Mia, think, if he's telling the truth, what does that mean for us? Her mind raced, but the pieces wouldn't snap into place. You've been lying to me? She whispered, looking at Ethan, searching for answers. About everything? Not about everything, he pleaded, faces etched with urgency. I didn't know. I swear I only found out recently myself. But why would they keep this from me? Her voice cracked, the weight pressing down on her chest. She had been caught in a web spun from lies and deceit. Why didn't my mother tell me? The tension crackled, heavy with unresolved pain. But before she could get answers, the world around them shifted again. The shadows danced, closing in, tightening like a noose, and then the room trembled, pulsing with energy, revealing even more shocking imagery. Faces of people she never knew began to flash across the wall behind her father. The family tree she never saw, branching into darkness. Voices whispered secrets, taunts that pierced her heart. The truth is much darker than you realize, her father warned, eyes growing intense. And you, Mia, are at the center of it all. You carry a legacy that others will stop at nothing to claim. Her vision blurred. The rush of emotions overwhelmed her. Betrayal, confusion, fear. Were they really in this together? No, I can't be part of this. But the shadows swirled tighter, and the final twist crept in. It shattered everything once more. A figure stood in the corner, cloaked in darkness, eyes glinting with malice. The newcomer smiled with a depth of familiarity that twisted her stomach into knots. You thought you could escape? Welcome to the real game, Mia. You're just stepping into the role you were destined for. And in that moment, the floor lurched beneath them, plunging into uncharted territory. How far did this go? Who could she trust? With the shadows whispering her name, the only thought echoing in her mind was clear. Was she even ready to face the truth? Mia's heart thundered as the shadows swirled around her, pressing closer like a cage. The revelation of her father felt like a dream gone horribly wrong, a bitter truth wrapped in deception. You can't be my father, she yelled, tears brimming. You abandoned us. No, I did what I thought was right, her father shouted back, desperation lacing his voice. You don't understand the darkness you come from. Ethan tightened his grip on her waist, a whirlwind of emotions flashing in his blue eyes. Mia, whatever is happening here, we'll face it together, I promise. But even his reassurance felt fragile amidst the chaos erupting around them. The shadowy figure inside the room laughed, a low, sinister sound. Together? You're all fools. This family, this legacy, is a curse. Your blood binds you, and it will claim you all. Mia felt a pit forming in her stomach as she processed his words. No, she whispered, shaking her head. I won't let any of this define me. At that moment, the air crackled, and the room trembled. Images of her childhood flashed before her. Happy memories with her mom, lessons learned in painting, but now they swirled into darkness. Memories turned into shadows, tangled and wrapped in sorrow. Enough, Mia screamed, her voice slicing through the air. "You don't get to decide who I am. I will break this cycle." The figures around her faltered, surprise flickering in their eyes. For the first time, she felt strength surge through her, warmth battling against the chilled dread that had gripped her heart. She took a step forward, her voice steady. "You can't control me. I have the power to change my own fate. You think you can escape?" The dark figure sneered. "You'll always be chained to the past." With a fierce determination, Mia reached for Ethan's hand, squeezing it tightly. "We will fight together. I won't let your darkness consume us," she declared, her voice ringing with conviction. Suddenly, a blinding light erupted from the device, illuminating the room with pure brilliance. The shadows shrank back, screeching as if the light itself burned them away. Mia took a deep breath, that flicker of hope igniting a fire inside her. "Now, Ethan." Together they surged forward, thrusting their combined energy into what felt like an expanding universe of possibility. The oppressive darkness shattered, fragmented like glass. Echoes of fear recoiled, and a silence fell over them, a fragile yet comforting silence. As the light faded, the oppressive weight lifted, and Mia blinked, taking in the reality around her. The room transformed into a beautiful expanse, windows throwing open rays of golden sunlight. It felt like a rebirth. Ethan wrapped his arms around her, and in that embrace, she felt a sense of freedom like never before. "We did it," she whispered, eyes shining with unshed tears, their connection stronger than all the darkness that had threatened to crush them. "Together," he replied, kissing her forehead gently, turning back to the remnants of their past. Mia faced her father. "It doesn't have to be like this. We can break free and create something new. You can be a part of it too, if you'll choose to fight." He looked years older then, eyes filled with regret. "I only wanted to protect you. No more hiding, no more lies," she insisted, her voice resolute. "Be someone worthy of our legacy." His gaze softened, an understanding sparking in his eyes. "I'll try." With those words, a new chapter unfurled. Together they stood, not just a family entwined by blood, but a constellation of choices, each shining bright with potential. Mia's heart surged with hope as she grasped the warmth of a new dawn. The past would always be a part of them, but it no longer defined them. They had the power to rewrite their story, turning darkness into light, pain into strength. "Let's go," she said, knowing the journey would be long, but filled with promise. With one last glance back, she stepped into the warmth of the future, ready to embrace everything that came next. And if you're as captivated by Mia's journey as she embraced her truth, you have to subscribe right now. Don't miss out on any of the next exclusive stories that will keep you on the edge of your seat. Smash that like button right now to feed the algorithm and help us grow this amazing community. Flood the comments section with your thoughts and theories about this mind-blowing ending. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see how this ends. Your support makes a huge difference. Let's take this journey together.